RPGs are a mainstay of gaming whatever console you're on. But for this list, we've narrowed down all 534 Xbox One RPGs into the top 25 of all time, arranged by PlayScore. You can find the complete list on our website, whattoplay.com. It's linked on the description box below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. 25th place is World of Final Fantasy Maxima. Nothing like a familiar name to start us off. While this isn't one of their classic titles, it's still a charming take on their age-old JRPG formula. Put yourself in the shoes of two siblings as they go on a journey around a mysterious land in search of lost memories. See some of your favorite Final Fantasy characters in this story fit for small adventurers. It has a play score of an 8.2. 24th on this list is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Koji Igarashi is best known for creating Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which reinvigorated the series with non-linear gameplay and the introduction of RPG elements. With the help of Kickstarter and a lot of feedback, he finally made his return with this new masterpiece. Customize your skills depending on your playstyle and help the cursed Miriam find her way up the evil castle. It has a play score of an 8.23. 23. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. Just before the release of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, we had this. No, it's not a full remake of a title we once loved, but it's the perfect way for fans to get their first contact of a game first released in 1999. It may arguably be shoddily done remaster, but it still deserves some credit for bringing back a game that was seemingly forgotten in the old gen. It receives a play score of an 8.26. 22nd on the list is Children of Morta. Breaking the convention of having one single character, 11-bit Studios' RPG lets you play an entire family. It's a roguelike game where you go hacking and slashing through an ever-changing dungeon filled with monsters and mayhem. Despite the monstrosity, it always keeps up with a family-friendly feel with the themes of love and hope. Like they say, a family that fights together stays together. It has a score of an 8.26. 21st on the list is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. The definitive Dragon's Dogma experience. Dive into their fantasy world that's struggling to fight against the looming darkness. Set out into their huge open world and band together with AI companions to fight together using their improved dynamic combat system. This edition also brings together all of the game's previous DLCs and more to create the best experience yet. It has a play score of an 8.29. 20th on the list is Indivisible. An ode to the Japanese RPG Valkyrie profile, Lab Zero Games' Metroidvania action RPG is a quirky but delicately mixed fusion of a lot of things. Follow their main character Ajna as she embarks a global quest to trace the roots of her power. While it wears inspirations on its sleeves, Indivisible has plenty of its masterful strokes embedded in their lush, ancient world. It has a play score of an 8.29. 19th is Valkyria Chronicles 4. Released in 2018, this fourth installment of the Valkyria Chronicles saga isn't news to fans of the genre. But what made it earn its spot here on this list is how it returned to its roots in presentation and gameplay. Returning with new characters in the same cel-shaded graphics, dive into the tragedies of Wei with the game's addictive turn-based combat and tactical freedom. It has a play score of an 8.31. Number 18 is Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark. Something a little more recent is this title from 6i Studio. This game is also a turn-based RPG that JRPG fans will definitely enjoy. Set in a medieval steampunk universe, control your own group of customizable arbiters who are responsible for fighting off evil and corruption. With a variety of classes and an array of items, you'll be able to personalize your strategy throughout this fantasy journey. An indie tactical RPG gem, it gets a score of an 8.35. 17th place goes to Final Fantasy XV. The remaster of Final Fantasy VII hasn't quite reached the Xbox One yet, but those on the Microsoft console make do with this gorgeous entry 10 years in the making. Still one of the biggest open-world experiences from the series yet, follow Prince Noctis as he goes on a quest to rescue the crystal, defeat Niflheim, and reclaim his throne. Get lost on a crystal-laden quest with a play score of an 8.35. At number 16 is Stardew Valley. Far from the combat and adventure-filled titles, Stardew Valley is an RPG that combines quests, crafting, and resource finding into one quaint farm life adventure. A labor of love by one-man team Eric Barone, it was his own answer to what Harvest Moon lacked, combining it with mechanics from Animal Crossing, Rune Factory, and Minecraft. As a result, we got the ultimate farm life experience, from crops, animals, and marriage to crafting, combat, quests, and a play score of an 8.4. We are down to number 15 with Outer Worlds. The latest RPG from Obsidian Entertainment has all the markings of their previous hits. Taking players to an alternate future controlled by mega corporations, it has that familiar sci-fi setting that fans of Fallout New Vegas loved. Add that to the VATS-like time dilation system, the character customizations, and the biting wit of their cast, the Outer Worlds almost feels like a second home. Maybe familiar to a fault, things have turned out well for those who loved Obsidian's RPGs. It receives a score of an 8.43. At 14th place is Child of Light. While it's inspired by classic fairy tales and medieval myths, Ubisoft Montreal's turn-based platformer is no ordinary storybook adventure. Princess Aurora's journey is an experience to follow as we assist her in her face-offs against monsters, both big and small. What stays consistent is the wonders of the world of Limura. Each stage delicately designed and packed with intriguing puzzles. It receives a play score of an 8.43. Lucky number 13, we have Hyper Light Drifter. Covered with a thick purple color scheme, Heart Machine's pixel-perfect indie action game looks and feels like an RPG gem. Showing off a beautifully dilapidated world of death and treasure, play as a drifter on a pilgrimage to uncover the truth behind its world. A hybrid of classic 16-bit visuals and modernized combat mechanics, it's a sight for sore eyes and it has a score of an 8.49. Did you know your reviews can influence the play score? Register now at whattoplay.com and start reviewing games. Link on the description box below. 12th on the list is Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. Packed with 2 new playable characters and full voice acting, this definitive version makes the Tales entry feel more alive than ever. Just like Elder Scrolls, its high-definition makeover has made the world of Turca Lumires feel fresh even on the new platforms. Now, old fans and new have the opportunity to experience its battle systems and compelling narrative once more. It has a play score of an 8.5. 11th place is the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition. A ubiquitous name in the RPG world, the Xbox One has definitely not outgrown this installment of Bethesda's Elder Scrolls series, revitalizing the experience with smoother frame rates, HD textures, and all of their DLCs. It was this edition that made Skyrim feel at home in the new generation and for a whole new audience too. It gets a play score of an 8.5. 10th on our list is Salt and Sanctuary. Scott Studios' 4th game is a cleverly crafted 2D action RPG that challenges amateur players with the brutal difficulty of its Metroidvania action. It becomes an addictingly visceral adventure with its combination of complex combat and seamless animations. Taking a while to make it to the Xbox One, it is now a certified RPG staple on the console with a score of an 8.51. 9th is Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 may be the end of the road for the series, but it will be long before we forget it. Borrowing elements from Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3 capped off the series with a bigger, better action-oriented approach to combat that retained their previous games' sense of strategy. Adding their deep lore and their gothic locales to the equation, there's no wondering how they earned their shining reputation and a play score of an 8.54.
Tom, I'm standing outside where a vigilante has declared war on crime in South Park. How long before he or she kills an innocent person? How long before Daredevil becomes the Punisher? Huh? 3 seasons? 3 seasons!
8th place is South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Quite a difference from this list's usual fare. South Park may never take itself too seriously, but it's still got a lot to offer when it comes to RPG experiences. Following up the stupid hilarity of Stick of Truth, this sequel has one-upped the original with its own twist on today's superhero obsession. Follow Cartman and his friends as they engage in a fiery civil war between which of them deserves a movie franchise. It has a play score of an 8.59. Number 7 is Monster Hunter World. Perhaps one of the biggest Monster Hunter adventures to date, not only is it grander in terms of realism and graphics, but it also included a multiplayer mode that was more convenient than ever before. Aside from the multiplayer, World also presents us with an arsenal of unique new weapons and a whole bestiary of new monsters, all packed within their array of new worlds. Best experienced with a recent Iceborne expansion, it receives a play score of an 8.6. Sixth place is Dragon Age Inquisition. Continuing the legacy of the first two games, Inquisition lets you play the unexpected Inquisitor charged with saving the world from a growing threat. At the time, it was awarded as one of the best RPGs of the year, boasting a vast open world to explore, complete with a riveting story to unfold. Still worth it after all these years, it gets a play score of an 8.61. Fifth place is Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition. This particular edition really did a lot to revitalize what has been a pretty lukewarm release from Blizzard. With it came smoother frame rate resolutions, as well as the new Reaper of Souls expansion, which added new character classes and a fifth act. It doesn't sound like much now, but it was the push that Diablo 3 needed. We'll just have to see how the coming fourth installment will do against this game-changing entry. It has a play score of an 8.63. Fourth place is, coincidentally, Fallout 4. Bethesda's fourth main installment of their radioactive series had to go through a few bumps in the road, but ultimately it lived up to the legacy of their name. An open world set in a post-nuclear Boston, Fallout 4 is packed with memorable characters, multiple branching stories, and an all-consuming base-building feature. Thanks to its character customizations, shooting mechanics, and moving storyline, it's exactly what you'd expect from Fallout 4 and so much more. It has a play score of an 8.66. Third on this list is NieR Automata Become as Gods Edition. Yoko Taro's spin-off to the Drakengard series is one of our recent action RPG gems. A game that brings us in for its intriguing robotic main character and hack-and-slash skills, and keeps us hooked with its whole existential ride. Packed with a range of endings, NieR's is a story that has plenty of layers. And it's made all the more worthwhile in this Become as Gods edition that contains all its major DLCs. A new classic from Platinum, it has a play score of an 8.73. Second place goes to Divinity Original Sin 2 Definitive Edition. Larian Studios has been one of today's leading names in the RPG world, and it's a reputation that they rightly deserve. With this sequel, they prove their worth once more. They brought pen and paper emergent RPG gameplay with the first game, and here they enhanced it even further with a multiplayer mode and a dungeon master mode, fleshing out of a storyline that was already amazing to begin with. If there's anyone that can bring RPG to life on consoles and out, it's Larian Studios with a play score of an 8.86.
Yum, yum.
And the best Xbox One RPG goes to The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. There are some names you just can't beat. After years of dominating the gaming world, CD Projekt Red's third and final entry to their Witcher series has become sort of a gold standard when it comes to open-world action RPGs. It offered players a gorgeous world and storyline to get lost in, and it made for an adventure that was hard to forget. While its RPG mechanics may not be that deep, jumping into the shoes of The Witcher is well worth it even to this day. It has a play score of a 9.04.